everyone, you're rocking it with Toni on Joy FM TV, and you know what we do. We bring you the movers and shakers in the community, people that are doing big things, that are rocking it for Jesus Christ. And today I am sitting with Mr. Mark Cartwright. Listen, for those of you that don't know who Mr. Cartwright is, shame on you, okay? Because he has been so instrumental in the lives of so many Bahamians, and I think people all over the world could say that they have benefited from Mr. Mark Cartwright. He is Mr. Farm Entertainment himself. Mr. Cartwright, how are you today?
I'm great. Blessed.
Awesome. You look good. Listen now, I want to ask you this question. In '96, you started something, Farm Fest. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what was the inspiration behind all of this?
Well, it was twofold. It was a challenge from a nephew of mine who said that churches couldn't work together.
Wow.
And it was that challenge along with wanting to do something to raise some funds for a hurricane that had just devastated Eleuthero. And Nat Williams, who's now deceased, we sat down, we just said, okay, what could we do? And at that time, I'd been in a lot of debates over people saying that in order to have an event, you needed to have liquor, you needed to have, people won't support something without liquor. Yeah. And so it was a challenge, and we took it on, and we said, we created a platform for the message of God to come out of the four walls of the church, and use this as a conduit to get that message out while raising funds for a worthy cause.
Wow. And the event is free every single year. How has it been like with getting sponsors? Were there any times when you really had a struggle, like just saying, something, I need sponsors, or people saying, Mr. Cartwright, I got you, and then when you go to them, it's like, sorry, Mr. Cartwright, we don't have the money to help with this?
Well, it not a struggle in the sense of I ever had doubt that it would happen.
Right.
But a struggle in the fact that there were a lot of people who said, hey, we're going to sponsor this, we're going to sponsor that, and it never came. But it all goes back to the second year that we had Farm Fest. Most people don't forget that Farm Fest, the first year, was a paying event, so you had to pay to get in, $5. And that changed because a lady came in, she had walked from the Baintown area with her 4 kids and herself. And we were near the gate, and we heard this commotion, and she was like, call Mr. Cartwright, call Mr. Cartwright. So I went out, and she looked at me, and she said, you all said the gospel's supposed to be free, but you all charging us. So I said, it's just $5. That ain't nothing for you, but I make $150 a week. Would you spend with all these kids? Jeez. Would you spend that amount of money to come in? And I don't want to sound super spiritual, but at that time, I actually heard, it was JD, Nat, and myself starting up. I actually heard, whatever you want to call it, it was audible, that, listen, the gospel should be free.
Stay tuned for more Rocket with Toni.
I wanted to get a little something special for my dad. He's a bit old-fashioned.
Granddad, that's not Facebook.
So my son and I thought, why not go to the Bible Book and Gift Center? From large print personal-sized Bibles.
And the word of the Lord came unto me. Keep still.
I can't hold it anymore.
He needs that. And even materials for Dad's Sunday school class.
Hello there, Grandpa.
Ooh, it's magic.
Granddaddy, I'm 14. He's even getting into gospel hip-hop.
See, I'm a praise him in the morning, praise him in the noonday.
That's Granddaddy?
The Bible Book and Gift Center. Touching hearts, transforming minds.
Because I'm living for Christ.
Well, your son, I wanna talk a little bit about your son, Mr. Najee Dunn himself. You know, doing big things. I mean, this young man is carrying on bad. I was like, this morning I was like, shoot, soon I love to say Grammy Award winning Najee Dunn. I say I know he's gonna be traveling and doing major things. So I want to know, how does it feel, you know, watching your son go out there and minister and see the young people? I mean, young people is almost like he's just like you. He's a magnet to young people, just drawn to him. What is it like seeing your son, you know, go out there and minister and win souls for the kingdom? What feeling does that give you?
It's a blessing, but you know, a lot of people see Najee. They and I want to say this. I'm very proud of my son. You know, at first I didn't want him to head in that direction. His inroad into farm was much more difficult than the average person that I meet, because most people around me will know that my vision is to make the people around me make their vision become true. That's really a simple. That's my simple life principle. But I'm very proud of it, especially this project. Not only because it's Najee, it's because the Bahamas has gone on a war against our young people.
Definitely.
My generation, and I need to personally apologize on behalf of my generation to the generation that he belongs to.
Yeah.
We've given them responsibility without giving them authority. Now, what I'll say with this project, we have a group of young Bahamian men.
Yes, sir.
5, all of the producers on that album are under 25. Men. Every single aspect of that album was done by a Bahamian. And we're talking about the writing, the production, the graphic work, the mastering, and the packaging. Every single aspect of that album. The album was released January 10th. By January 17th, it was the number one downloaded hip-hop, not just gospel, but the number one hip-hop album on iTunes. And so, I guess to answer your question, I'm proud of him, but I'm also very, very proud of the team that helped to put him where he is.
Coming up on Rocket with Toni.
I took it almost as a joke when the doctor said to me, you have cancer. And I was like, okay, so now what?
Hello, I'm Clover Bonamy, and I'm inviting you to join the Joy FM family in our 2014 worship experience, where each month we will visit a church to share in their worship service. Come out and join us and be a part of a truly rewarding and wonderful 2014 worship experience. We look forward to seeing you. Stay tuned in to 101.9 FM Joy, your choice for the family, for further details.
Well, I just want us to take a scroll back in our minds. I think it was about 2 years ago, and it was just a few weeks before Farm Fest, and bam, we had this plane crash. And persons that were very, very instrumental in Farm were on this plane. Persons like Nat Williams and so forth. What was that moment when you got that phone call, or however you got the news? What emotions were you feeling at that time?
Well, when I got the call, I was just sitting around talking, and someone said, one of your friends went down in a crash. Now, the person that they described to me was not at that time. They said the guy was the best man in your wedding. But what they meant, I was the best man in his wedding. So I have another friend that they call Big Boy, Philip Swaby. So I call his work. to see if he was traveling. And they said no. And then I remembered Lot was traveling. And then one of the guys called me again and said, "Well, I think you need to come out by the airport because it's your boy." But first of all, I was devastated. I didn't believe it at first. And I had a very, very, it was surreal until I went up at the hospital, and then we were briefed about what happened, the crash and all that. But the thing is, there was a whole team of fine people on there. You know, people remember that. But Sasha, all of those guys were part of our team. All of those guys were there from the inception of Farm Fest. And the changing moment in that was when I met his mom. She looked at me, she said, "But you can't be sad. I'm mandating you to do one thing. Take care of every obligation that my son have, and you be strong for him."
Gee.
And that was her directive to me. We never really, like, even at his funeral, the thing that I said that was the most truthful for me was that in all the years, we might replace him as an engineer and all that. We will never be able to replace him, the man. But he, through his life and working with farm, had trained so many of the younger people that his life continues to make an impact. For instance, if you look at any of the persons that are still doing sound now, every one of them basically were directly trained through him. So, you know, for me, that lives on. The person lives on. So that made dealing with the tragedy of not dying, the tragedy with Chet dying, the tragedy with Levad, Sasha, and all those guys dying, D, all of those, they still live on through the movement. And that just makes me really more determined in taking the spirit that they put into farm and making it live forever.
Stay tuned for more Rock It with Toni.
Check. Christ who I'm living for. If you ain't serving them, tell me what you living for. You could try to find hope in the liquor store, or you could bang your knees, hit the floor and pray to God. They want to stop my drive, so I gotta dodge. All this hating right now, see I can't afford. Gotta stay focused like I had a fort. No Honda, but me and God, we on one accord. Yeah, what's up? It's your boy Nas, you done rocking it right now with Toni on Joy FM TV. Peace.
I know a few years ago that you dealt with some health challenges, and you know, I want to know, what was it that really pulled you through those moments, you know, when you were going through that health challenge that you had?
Again, my faith, but a lot of it had to do with my family and the people that surrounded me. I remember the first day I got the news. I took it almost as a joke when the doctor said to me, "You have cancer." And I was like, "Okay, so now what?" He then said, "You're going to have to have surgery." And I was like, "Okay, how long am I going to be out?" Because I never, the question of dying really never came into my mind. And I've never, I want to live for as long as I can, but I never worried about, that has never been something that I've been afraid of. Even, you know, like with crime and everything, I don't look over my back, or I don't change nothing in my life. I've never been. But the thing is, I have an insurance. You know, I have a fire insurance. So I know the life that I'm going to have after is better than the life I have here. So, it never really, I was more concerned for my family. Like, I wondered, the first thing I did is sit down and wonder, if it comes, how is Tashi going to get through college? What is going to happen to my son at that age? And how is my immediate family going to survive? I mean, I was more, I really didn't worry if that. And again, one of the things that happened while I was doing that, it's just that the Holy Spirit said to me, listen, you're here planning what's going to happen to them. I got you.
Wow.
And so I never, I was told by a doctor that I had, quote unquote, between 6 months to 12 months to live. But the fate of the older people that were around me is like, hey, that's not stamped on your foot, and only God can stamp that. So he's a man. And so I tell people that's the longest 6 months of my life, and I'm going to continue to enjoy these 6 months that they say I have.
Okay, so, somebody may be watching us right now, and they're like, I've just got a report from the doctor too, and I'm hearing this, and I want to know, like, what can I do to remain strong? What are your words to that person? And they're like, I just feel like giving up. I just got the report from the doctor. I don't care. I just whatever, and they have a whatever kind of attitude towards the situation, and they're depressed, and, and all these kind of feelings are just running through their minds. What are your words to that person?
Well, let me say that some of those feelings are natural, but the first of all, let me say that, seek God. Study the Word, and always realize that the doctor gave you a report, God gives you a report, and you have to decide whose report you're going to listen to.
Right.
And for me, I chose to listen to the manufacturer, the person who built me. That's like, it's as simple as this. You can go to a bush mechanic and listen to what he says. I'm not saying don't listen to what the doctor says. Right. I don't want anyone to ever give that. Right. But there's a manufacturer, the person that built you, put you here. He gave you a manual. Read it, believe it, and just trust him.
Mr. Cartwright, I am so thankful, and I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, that you've helped along the way, young persons. I know you've helped me tremendously in the start of In You magazine. You've been very instrumental, and I just really want to say thank you. Thank you for the vision of FAM, that is helping thousands of persons all over the world. I really want to thank you for that. How can persons get in contact with FAM so that they could, get on board?
Well, a simple email. To farmfestinfo@gmail. It's very, very simple. farmfestinfo@gmail.com.
Well, you heard it here, and you are rocking it with Toni. Remember, your possibilities are endless. Your potential is limitless, and your purpose, it is undeniable. Continue to rock your purpose and your dreams, and know that greatness is in you.
Hi, this is Mr. C, and you're rocking it with Toni on Joy FM TV.